All righty. What's up,
Right.
dude? We're live. We're live. You're back.
What's up,
Where
Rich?
have you been?
Long time no speak, huh?
Yeah. Listen, I'm putting rumors out there that you've been hanging out with the KGB. You've been hanging out with I don't know where you've been. The CIA. You've been working for some drug cartel. What have you been doing, man? Where you been hiding?
I've been working a lot. We had some people out at work, so work's got to get done. So it's been a busy 2 weeks, Rich. But like I texted you yesterday that I want to talk some sports, and Monday's gonna come around, and I'll be back at it again. So, it's been a rough couple of weeks. But I did get some ball games. I got to Mets opening day. And we'll talk about that later. And I went to the Yankee game last week, but it was a close call because I had to have a little surgical procedure done. And really? I was hoping Mets opening day would get postponed till that Friday because I don't think I could have gone that Thursday. So I woke up out of the anesthesia and I saw my text from Ben, Dad, the game's postponed till Friday. So I was able to go to Mets opening day. So that was pretty cool. We'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah,
if you don't want to talk about it, what kind of procedures do you have done?
Just a simple biopsy. Everything came up good, but
you're good, right?
Being on blood thinners, had to regulate my blood, and I can't get it to where the level I want to be yet. So I'm injecting my stomach twice a day with this Lovenox, it's called. It's to prevent clots and stuff. So right now my stomach looks like connect the dots, but I'm not going to pick up my shirt today. My stomach's all bruised, but it's better to be safe than sorry, Rich. You know what I mean?
Of course, man. Of course. Absolutely.
You like my shirt, Rich? Utah Jazz. You like that?
I do. You always got the good shirts, man.
And look at this. Got the Western Conference patch on the side. Look at that.
Okay.
Nice.
I got my Jets hat on today.
Okay, I was going to say either Jets or Celtics in the green and stuff like that. So
I don't want to wear too much. I got my boy Garnett over my shoulder there. So
the Mets just hit into a double play. It looks like against the Royals. It's the 2015 World Series all over again, Rich. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't even want to talk about it too much.
I want to talk about that in a second because there's something coming up on Sunday I want to speak to you about. Yeah. But Francisco Lindor just slid into second base very nicely, and I was at opening day, and I thought Rhys Hoskins slid in nicely to Jeff McNeil. So I want to know your opinion on that too, Rich.
All right, you know what? Perfect.
I just want to talk about one thing: the solar eclipse.
Go ahead. Before we jump into sports, what do you got to say about the solar eclipse?
It was a dud, Rich. They said 90%, right? So 90% is great in school, but when it comes to eclipses, 90% sucks. I thought it was going to get dark. I was by work, and just looked like a thunderstorm as it come through. That's how dark it got and stuff,
Yeah.
We had some glasses passing around and stuff. I was a little adamant about the glasses because there was on the news that the glasses were being replicated in China. And on the glasses itself, it said made in the USA, but they were still coming from China. And God only knows, if you burn your eyes out with these glasses. So I wanted to make sure, the gas stations were selling them and stuff. Would you buy something from a gas station, Rich, besides a hot dog and stuff? God only knows. You go to a gas station, Delta 9, Delta 10, sunglass, Eclipse. How do you know if this stuff's real at the gas station? But
listen, you're right. I always tell people, if anybody's going to buy weed or anything like that, never buy those gummies and never buy any of those vapes from gas stations.
Yeah,
it's all fake, or it's all just stuff that's all of it is.
Do yourself a favor, people. Buy a can of Coke, a newspaper, a lottery ticket. Or even one of these hot dogs on the rollers that have been on the rollers for 10 weeks. That's the safe stuff at the gas stations, But the eye doctor was selling them, so I took a picture. I walked past my eye. What did you go to the eye doctor to buy a pair of glasses, Rich?
Yeah, exactly. Now, let me bring up a point that my niece Michaela brought up to me a couple of weeks ago about the solar eclipse thing, since we're talking about it, and these glasses and everything. Now, just know you don't look at the sun, right? It's just like, we go through life. We know just not to look up at the sun.
Well, you know what, Rich? If we're playing the outfield and there's a fly ball, we've looked at the sun before, but for a second, basically.
I understand. Yeah. Understood. But we're not as human beings. We're not that dumb to turn around and say, "Oh, I'm going to turn around and look at the sun." Okay, that's A. Yep. B. It's dangerous anyway to look at the sun with an eclipse or not. Okay, fine. C is if it was so dangerous and they made people go out and buy all these, like Amazon had these glasses and these companies were selling these glasses. If it was so adamant that everybody had these glasses, don't you think like gas stations would just be giving them out? 7-Elevens would be giving them out. People would just be giving them out. You don't have to buy. My wife bought a 5-pack from Amazon for like $10 or whatever it was. It doesn't matter. But there's millions of people buying these glasses and stuff. And it's like, Don't you think that you'd be able to get them at your local post office or your government agency if it was really going to burn out your eyes, or people were just going to burn up in the streets?
Yeah, they sent out all those COVID testing kits. Why not send out glasses, right? I mean,
COVID testing kits too. I think they put a lot of positives in the COVID testing kits too, and it was a luck of the draw. If you got a little sniffle, you took the COVID test and it became positive. Again, I'm not saying it wasn't real, but I think that they skewed the numbers.
And now they want you to recycle the glasses. They want you to send them to South America, so the poorer nations can use them for the next eclipse, whenever it is, and stuff like that.
Crazy. So the government could write off more stuff on their taxes that they gave all those glasses to charity.
You know what gets me, Rich? Though, they talk about the solar eclipse, and there's solar eclipses all the time, basically. So why were people saying it was the end of the world? Why on Facebook did they say people are falling out of the sky? I read something on Facebook that said, haha, we made it. And somebody said, no, you didn't. There's going to be people falling out of the sky soon. You watch. The Armageddon, the eclipse, the apocalypse is coming. I mean, what is with people with this stuff? I mean, I think they have too much free time.
It's the social media aspect, I would think of it, because everything is so right there. Information is so readily available. And there's a lot of people sitting around, on a computer all day. It's like, starting trouble, I guess. And, there's also, ways that stuff gets interpreted. Like, if you say, you can interpret anything. Like there was a solar eclipse like 1,000 years ago and this happened. There's been 1,000 years between that incident and this incident. Like it could be interpreted so many ways. So I just think it's people like, the doom and gloom people just saying that, it's like this is going to happen. Like we had an earthquake the other day.
They put one and one together. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the moon was going to pass over the sun. It's just fodder for people, I think, to talk about, to be completely honest with you. And look, it worked because everybody's talking about it. Everybody went out and got those glasses. Now, I was working. I was in Connecticut. I was working, out in Connecticut. I'm driving home and it just got cloudy. But, Shannon, she got the glasses. She was down there with the kids. And I was also listening to the fan that day. And the fan was talking about how there was like hundreds of thousands of people on the streets with the glasses looking up. I guess it's kind of cool, but you're right. Why now? Why was this one the one that was so cool? You know what I mean?
But Rich, 70% of the earth is water, right? So you know how many solar eclipses happen where nobody sees it because it's over? So eclipses happen a lot. Like Halley's Comet. Can you imagine if Halley's Comet came again? What would these people say, these social media people, right? Imagine, right?
When was the last time Halley's Comet came through?
It was way before the internet, I think, and we'll never see in our lifetime again. But yeah, that's the way,
I remember we were fairly young, right? Around the time when I remember it happening. I just don't remember. I couldn't tell you what year it was though.
Yeah, there wasn't that much spectacle. I mean, no internet around. I think that's what it is, Rich. I think the internet brings out the best and the worst in people, I guess, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's really, you're right though. It is the flavor of the day. You know what I mean?
But somebody at work, they went to ask if they were doing something for the solar eclipse, and Human Resources said they couldn't. They didn't have enough time or something like that. And I was thinking, eclipses, you had 1 billion years to plan for this eclipse, right, Rich? We all knew this was going to happen like hundreds of years ago. The scientists, it just amazes me how they figure out this stuff out and stuff. The scientists, it's crazy and stuff. Like, and the precise time it happens too.
Well, again, yeah, exactly, and that's science.
Yeah, that's what it is, and take it for what it's worth. People don't believe in it, but you know what? If they tell me there's an eclipse at 3:25 on Monday, February 17th, I'm going to be out there at 3:25 Monday, February 17th, watching that thing.
Listen, I know you might listen. I know you a very long time, and you're a numbers guy, and numbers don't lie, Eric. If you it's like that's why I could never in a million years understand like these crazy math equations that they have up on the boards and stuff like that, where there's all these symbols and numbers, but those are equations that that's why the world works. It just works because of that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
A lot of coincidences when it comes to coincidences too, when it comes to the numbers as well. A lot of the time,
I'll never understand it, dude. My brain just can't fathom that kind of stuff.
I look at numbers all day, Rich. So I just want to, talking sports makes me not, but sports is all about numbers too, right? It's everything with numbers, right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
but yeah, so the eclipse is gone. I think the next one's in 2044, but it's going to go from Florida to the West Coast, so we won't be seeing that one. And then in 2079, Rich, we won't be here for that one. Definitely not. New Jersey Shore will get there. So that's
what do you mean we're not going to be here in 27? You don't think we're going to be here in 2079? How many years?
That's a far stretch, Rich, right?
What if they find out a way that they could just I don't know, put a chip in our brain where
I'll be 111. So, the ripe old age of 111. It's funny because I heard somebody just turned 111 the other day. Now, if you're the oldest person in the world, let's say, right? That's like a dubious thing because you're going to die within a week, it seems sometimes, right?
Well, yeah, I guess. Well, sometimes you see those people that they actually look like they still live a normal life. They get up and they walk around on the farm. And it's always these people that live in these really, really small towns in like Italy or Spain or France. It's like some really small town with like 400 people. And the person's like 114 years old. You're like, oh, how does this person live
Yeah,
so
they
long?
had the guy on, one of these guys. He said, "What's the key to living long?" And he said he eats everything in moderation, drink in moderation, but every Friday night for his whole life he had fish and chips. So that's if it's fish and chips. Let me go to Arthur Treacher's. Remember Arthur Treacher's fish and chips, Rich?
Yeah, yes, I do. Yeah, I do. Jesus Christ. So before we get into our, well, this is going to be sports related, but we had a big death in the last couple of days.
Well, you stole my thunder, Rich, because I was going to say I spoke to you before the show and I was going to talk to you about something and I want to hear your reaction. I was going to say it's Pete Rose's birthday on April 14th, 2 more days, he'll be 82. Pete Rose not in the Hall of Fame, O.J. Simpson in the Hall of Fame. And I wanted to talk to you about that because the NFL doesn't have a stipulation where they throw these dirtbags out. Lawrence Taylor made the Hall of Fame, and a couple of weeks later, he's caught dealing drugs, whatever. So I wanted to know with you now that O.J. Simpson's bust will be in the Hall of Fame forever now, because he was a great football player. We have to agree he's one of the best running backs ever to play the game. But in terms of character, what do you think?
All right. Let me. I'm sorry I stole your thunder there for a second because I want to.
Well, I wanted to talk about the Pete Rose turning 82. And
no, but you know what? It's very interesting you say that. You know why? Because it's very interesting you say that because I was going to kind of go into Pete Rose a little bit too when it came to that because I think what it boils down to, Eric, with that is I think it's two different games to begin with. Okay, it's it has nothing to do with football and baseball. It has to do with the person that did the banning, a personal vendetta against somebody, against a personal vendetta, or that somebody that used their power to ban somebody, because of their personal lives. You know what I mean? Which I think is kind of like what modern day is happening now to a lot of people, social media and stuff like that. Like you walk into a job interview and you murder in a job interview, but this guy goes home and he looks up on Facebook and, you said something derogatory like 15 years ago. The guy's been like, oh, wow, you're not going to get this job. You know what I mean? So I think because in the NFL is like the NFL is kind of sketchy in the NFL or touchy in the NFL because when you think about it, it's like, look at Rashid Rice driving around, doing 200 miles an hour in a car. And like you said, Lawrence Taylor, sniffing cocaine and like, trying to get sexual favors from a young girl and stuff like that. It's like, I mean, you could have people that are good at what they do, but their personal lives could be a mess. So I think that I do think, I guess NFL, if they're going to stand by their guns, I guess they have to keep OJ's bust in the Hall of Fame. And I think that there's too much going on, Eric, right now that opens up the door for Pete Rose to be in the Hall of Fame. It's just so much contradicting stuff going on that, and I understand it's kind of like, you know what you could equate this kind of to, which is kind of weird. You could equate it to like the Second Amendment. All right. Second Amendment, the right to bear arms is like, I believe in it. But like the people that are vehemently against it, it's like, well, go back and read what it says. Like if you read what the right to bear arms was back when it really came out, I'm talking about people with muskets and defending their 4x4 piece of property. So I think as stuff evolves through the years, I think it's kind of like I think that's kind of like stuff hasn't evolved since then. You know what I mean? So they're kind of nitpicking at stuff like the gambling stuff. Like it's legal everywhere now, and Pete Rose supposedly gambled. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like do you have to contradict the stuff and let him in? I mean, listen, I know murder is not legal, but he was innocent. Innocent until proven guilty. He was innocent in the court of law.
Let me talk about OJ compared to Pete Rose, though. OJ,
ahead, yeah.
And you'll agree with me on this. OJ was like America's darling for quite a while there. The commercials, the movies, the NFL shows that he was on. So everyone loved OJ Simpson for at least after he retired. He retired in 79, I guess 80. And it's funny because Phil Simms almost went to the 49ers. So OJ, it was a whole thing where if you look at it, 1979, what happened? But, OJ Simpson, he was like Americana. The whole world loved OJ. He was the marketing, he was like, I'm trying to think of a name, like, not like
He's
Michael
the modern.
Jordan.
Listen, he's the modern day Snoop Dogg. I'm not even
Yes.
kidding around.
There
He's
you
the
go.
modern day Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg's the modern day OJ for personality wise.
Right.
Appeals to everybody.
Exactly. And that's what it was. Yeah. He appealed to everybody. Pete Rose, on the other hand, Pete Rose a narcissistic douche. That's what he was,
Yes.
because it was all about Pete Rose. But OJ just loved the spotlight, though. You got to admit that, right?
Now, let me ask you a question. You just said something about Pete Rose being what you were saying, like he's narcissistic, right? Narcissistic. Now, I don't think he, well, when it came to baseball, let's say per se, okay, his outside persona is one thing, but I don't think, like, take his outside persona and name me a baseball player that you've seen on the baseball field that played harder, ran harder, and like running over Ray Fosse, I don't even think was just being a dick. It was just a still. He said, somebody asked him, how did you get all those hits? He goes, I never gave up an at bat. I always played 100%. So now I would think a narcissist would be somebody like, like these fucking fans are yelling at me.
It's just his attitude, Oh, it's Pete. He wears a T-shirt with his face on and stuff. It's just, Pete Rose allegedly raped a 15-year-old way back when.
Right.
When he was asked in Philadelphia about it, he said something, I forget what he said. I have to look up the quote, but he said that was 50 years ago. So is that he's admitting to it, or is he just saying, he's 50, like it's like nothing to him, basically.
Do you know, the only reason why I know this, because my wife has been on a kick lately watching the documentary. Do you know how old Priscilla Presley was when Elvis hooked up with her?
Like 14, 15 or something?
14.
Mm-hmm.
So now we vilify people who we want to vilify. And that, like, yeah, Pete Rose was a douche. All right. Okay. So it's easy to hate Pete Rose for doing something that he should be hated for. Whereas Elvis is like the king of rock, this, that, and the other thing. It's like, but he kind of did the same thing. But you know what? We all love Elvis. I mean, you could, and then whenever you say that, it's like, Rich, it's just Elvis.
But Rich, he stayed with Priscilla Presley, right? He stayed with her, though, right?
Yes.
So
No, he did. He did.
Right.
No, I'm not. You're right. You just said, the rape thing is the thing that,
Yep.
You're right. You're right. Understood. I mean,
and who knows? Elvis down south, the laws might have been different back then. I don't know.
Yeah.
What was it?
Again, I don't condone it, but I think times that I think at times they're looked at from being who they are.
Right.
Like, wow, I can't believe that guy did that too. Yeah, I figured that guy would do that. He's a douche.
Yep. But then you look at a guy like Tony Gwynn, lovable guy, and even what's his name, Kirby Puckett. Kirby Puckett was a lovable guy. Look what happened to him at the end too, Rich. Yeah. He became like, oh my God, you don't realize about that. But I was just watching a piece of paper at Citi Field blowing around.
Yo, I'm gonna talk about my anti-Mets curse in a couple of minutes too.
Oh boy!
Remind me about remind me about that. So I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, I just think this whole thing got brought up with OJ and stuff. So I mean, we'll never know the truth about OJ. We'll never know if he did it or not. But in terms of being an athlete, football player, one of the best in the game ever. Pete Rose, one of the best in the game ever. The problem with Pete Rose is there was a law that was written in the 1900s. Yes. The law was never changed, Rich. And you know what? He broke the law, basically. Look at Ohtani right now. Look, if Ohtani, right? What happened there, right? That's crazy. That was a crazy story that broke back in March, right? That we didn't speak about, right?
Yes, we have. Oh my God, we have so much to talk about, dude. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, Pete Rose should have been the first one, on. Well,
he did. Pete Rose did. He said, "I wish I had an interpreter." I don't know if you saw that quote. Pete Rose. If you look up a video, you'll see Pete Rose say that, basically, that he wished he had an interpreter.
Now, how do you feel about him saying that?
It's stupid. Why would he say something dumb like that? Right?
But in retrospect, yeah, it's just dumb because you think he's an asshole.
But
you know what
I mean? Ohtani, and the thing about Ohtani is Ohtani's got so much money that people say, like, how do you realize 19 million's coming out of your account? But it's kind of like me and you. If we lose $20, we're upset, right? Yeah.
He doesn't have all that money, not knowing how much money he has.
Right.
So
right.
If listen, Warren Buffett's got billions. He's gonna miss $16 million.
Right. It's like a penny. It's like $5 now. Losing $5 in the parking lot.
We're all over the place because I had another point I was gonna make about what we were talking about OJ before. But yeah, whatever. But the thing with Ohtani is really burning my ass, to be completely honest with you. I think not that it's burning my ass, but I think that there's something that I don't know if anybody's spoken about this. The thing with Ohtani, like,
but Rich,
yeah, I'm scared.
Pardon me for a second. If
Yeah,
you
yeah,
look
of
at
course.
compare Ohtani to Pete Rose. Ohtani's like the face of baseball right now. Pete Rose was never the lovable guy that everyone liked. I don't think, in my opinion.
Hence, why is Shohei Ohtani not in trouble?
He's the face of baseball, Rich. They figure if they get him in trouble, the sport's going to be tarnished, basically.
Hence, that's what I'm saying. They just gave this guy $700 million. You think they're going to prosecute him?
Right?
Now, I don't know if maybe just my brain works differently than your brain when it comes to stuff like that. And I'm saying that in just a way when I explain this to you, like you might be like, wow. Now, I don't know, haven't heard anybody explain it this way, but this is what I think how this played out. The only reason why I think it played out this way is because Ohtani and this guy know each other a long time. This is his boy, right? This is what the story is, right? Like friends, like even before he was interpreting for him playing baseball, like these guys are friends. Okay. Now, his friend, you know, when you're a good kid, you're a nice kid, you know, everybody loves you. They don't know who your friends are. You know what I mean? You could have a friend here. It's like, oh, my friend's fucking crazy. You know, like, all right, so Ohtani's got this buddy. Okay. Now this buddy of his, he's nuts. He's crazy, but Ohtani's his friend and he's always been good at everything. He takes care of him. All right. So he keeps doing it. He's taking care of him. Okay. It's like, all right, he gets him. You are going to be my interpreter. It's like, what do you mean I'm going to be your interpreter? And they're saying this in Japanese. It's like, it's a great job for you. I'm going to pay you this amount of money. It's fine. Fine. Ohtani's been taking care of this guy for years. Knows he's got a gambling problem. Okay. And I definitely think that Ohtani has gambled. And I don't think that if anybody thinks Ohtani does know what's going on, they don't know what's going on. Now, it's known, maybe they gambled together back in the day, you know, and maybe they bet on horses or whether they do out in Japan. Okay. So now it gets out of hand and Ohtani becomes this big star and they're still friends. He's an interpreter. You know, through the years, they have an argument. You got to stop the shit, man. I can't bail you out. Gets to a point where it's $4 million. So now Ohtani turns to him, you know, after he just took 1 million pictures, smiling, everybody loves him. And he turns to his friends and says, listen, this is it, bro. Okay. I am not taking the fall for this. It's like, you're taking the fall for this. I'm going to put $10 million in your family's bank account. They're going to be fine. You're going down for this, motherfucker. I am not going down for this. I'll pay your bill. And I'm going to tell everybody in the world that you stole this money from me and you were stealing for years. I'm tired of dragging your ass around in life. That is, to me, how I see it happening, because you see it all the time, Eric. It's like when you see somebody up there and that's who they are in front of everybody. Look at Aaron Hernandez when he first went into the NFL. Big smile. Everybody loves him. The guy was a killer, dude. Killer. Now, Ohtani, I'm not saying he's a killer, but I bet Ohtani's been dragging that guy along for long enough. Now it's like, dude, I just signed a $700 million contract. Well, how much you owe this guy? $4.5 million. I'm giving it to him, and you stole that shit from me if anything comes out. And this is the way it's going to be. And I think that that's my opinion on it. But there's $10 million in your family's bank account, so they will be fine. But you're going down. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah, but that gets out that he gives the family $10 million, right? It's kind of like he's paying them off to go to jail, basically, right?
Well, maybe other perks. I don't know. Maybe that part is a little out. But I don't think 90% of what I just said is too outrageous to think about. Because everybody's got that friend, dude. You know, when you're growing up somewhere, everybody's got those friends. Everybody's got the different personality in their friend group. And the one guy, there's sometimes that guy that's just a guy that can't win. The guy that starts all the fights. The guy that's the loser. The guy that can never keep the girl. He's always being made fun of. And Ohtani's like, I got to take care of this guy. He's my boy. You know, so that happens in life, man. I think that's a life lesson, I think.
It's kind of ironic. It happened on the second game of this, after the first game of the season in Korea, nonetheless, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I've been trying to get that out for a while. I kind of think, I don't know. Yeah. And you're right though. And you're a person that when I argue about kind of stuff like the gray area stuff, you're a by the book person and you make sense sometimes. It's like a long time ago when I would tell my cousins that I like to smoke weed, you know, and they drank. It's like, you guys could go home and drink a case of beer and I smoke a joint and I'm a bad person. And my cousin would be like, it's illegal. That's it. And I'm like, I guess, but again, you're a by the books guy. Pete Rose, you can't gamble. It was illegal at the time. So yes, I mean, I do agree with you there, but
well, gambling
a lot of gray areas.
gambling on his own team. That's what it was, you know.
Yeah.
If Ohtani was gambling on soccer, do we really care if he's gambling on soccer, Ohtani?
No, well, how come has it? And how about this? How about then you're bringing in the criminal element of it. There's no gambling allowed at all in California.
Thank you.
So they're going to see
gambling with an illegal bookie too, right? No gambling in California, right?
You ever see that? You ever see that movie Bloodsport?
No.
With Jean-Claude Van Damme. Well, I'm going to give a reference. People who have seen Bloodsport. It's like showing Ohtani's, in California, going to that guy that Jean-Claude Van Damme had a fight in the last fight in Kumite, the big heavy-set Japanese guy, and he's going to that's who he's going to see to pay the money to. They're not putting it into no bank account. They're getting stacks and racks of cash and dropping it on somebody's desk. Ohtani is going to miss that money, dude.
Do you think the bookie's going to come out and talk now, or what?
No way in a million years. Do you know why? Because 4 point. No. It's not even Eric. It's not even that. I would say even there's no way he's saying anything, because you know why? Because I can almost guarantee that $4.5 million that he's getting from this guy is probably one of the richest guys in Japan that he's taking bets, or one of the richest guys or wherever. He's dealing with this is not some guy named Sal who took a phone call and all of a sudden ran up a $4.5 million tab on Sal from wherever, from Brooklyn. This is a big organization and with a lot of money. And for them to turn around and say, listen, I've been running a criminal organization for the last 30 years, and Shohei Ohtani stole $16 million from me. No way will that benefit them. That's just going to get them more business, man. There's no way the bookie's going to come out unless somebody gets caught, unless they talk.
Or until FanDuel and DraftKings are legal in California, right? Then he might come out.
And that's another thing. Like you're never, ever going to get rid of the criminal element when it comes to betting, sports betting. Listen, I understand the ease of FanDuel, and I understand it's legal, but they don't give you credit, man. There's a reason behind the bookies who taking these guys, like, give me a $10,000 credit. Either you're going to pay it back or you're going to get beat up. That's the end game. But FanDuel and DraftKings, you're filling out tax forms and this, that, and the other thing. It's all legit. And if you're some guy that's been dealing with somebody on the corner for 20 years, you're not going to really want a computer. I'm not going on a computer to make bets. I'm just calling Joey.
Yeah, I'd rather have tax forms than be asked what size shoe I wear, if you know what I mean.
Understood, right? Dude. Absolutely. But it's all like where you came from too, Eric. When you think
of course. I'm not saying
that's how I was never a gambler.
I live close enough to the Hudson River, Rich. You know what I mean, right? Pair of those shoes, right? Yeah,
I do. I hear you.
Wow, crazy, huh? Yeah. So like I said, O.J. Simpson. Yeah. Rest in peace. But kind of the truth we'll never know now, basically. I guess Al Cowling's still alive, though, right? Al Cowling, his best friend, I think, is still alive.
Can I tell you what do you call it? And I'm going to put him on blast. I'm not going to put him on blast for this, too. I heard a conspiracy theory today that I've never heard about O.J. Simpson. I told him I was going to say it. I was talking to a very, very good friend of ours. He was just here a little while ago, sitting on the deck with me, and we're talking about O.J. He tells me this conspiracy theory. I'm going to give it to you real quick. He said that O.J. Simpson is home. He's sitting in his living room. He hears a knock on his door. What do you call it? His son, Jason Simpson, walks in the back, says to his father, has an argument with his dad, says, look, I killed the bitch. I killed her and I killed the boyfriend. I hated her. She broke up you and mom. I hate her, but I hate her. Okay. And I killed her. And O.J.'s like, what are you talking about? You killed your mom. You killed my wife. It's like, I hate that. Big fight breaks out. Okay. So he says, okay, I'm going to do whatever I can. I'm going to go to trial because I know I didn't do this. So I'm going to pass lie detector tests. I'm going to pass everything because I'm OJ. Everybody loves me and I'm going to be acquitted. Well, son, you just go run away and take all the evidence and see what happens because none of my evidence is here. So, and he's saying that his son was younger than him. So that is why the gloves did not fit because the son's hands were smaller. So this whole time, OJ's going through all this crazy shit, losing all his money, getting sued, gets acquitted, big smile. It's his son that actually killed both of those people.
Interesting.
Kind of like a Joe Biden, Hunter Biden situation where your son's
kind of makes you wonder. But I thought you were going to say the son killed OJ. He said, "Dad, it's time to go." But those videos that OJ did around the Super Bowl, right? I mean, they seem legit, right? He's in the car saying, "I'm fine. I'm not in hospice" and stuff like that. Even when his family was watching him die, whoever was at the house, they had to sign like an affidavit not to say anything. No cameras allowed, no phones allowed. So it's kind of weird the way this whole thing played out and stuff. like
you know
that.
why? You know why, Eric? Because just like you're gonna take a male personality, name me or show me a picture. Maybe you'll find one or two where you could see that O.J. Simpson was not smiling.
Right.
Never, never. He always knew the camera was on him. He
Yep.
wanted it. So, and I think that whole pomp and circumstance, the whole thing, like, that's what he was, man. That's what fed him. You know, it's like, look, you get away with that. If that's you and you really, it comes to that and you do that, don't you get on a banana boat and you go as far west or east as possible to the remotest island in a beautiful tropical place and never, ever talk to anybody ever again? That's like what a normal person would do. But a person that is narcissistic and who has an ego, you know, he's going to stick around. Be like,
In Las Vegas,
do
nonetheless.
nothing.
Right? In Las Vegas, nonetheless, right?
Yeah. Do you remember that time when all that trial was going on, dude? Was it as a polarizing, you know, for you as it was for like, you know, where I was? You know, everybody was sitting there watching the trial and everybody had an opinion and everybody, you know, that was a crazy time, dude. Do you remember where you were when you saw the white Bronco?
Yeah, I just got back. I was in Kansas City. I went to some Royals games. I think they were playing the Yankees Royals, I think. And I came back and the Knicks were playing the Rockets that night. Yeah. It was just wild. I was at home watching it and stuff, you know.
I was at a party.
1994. Yeah, I was home. And you know, it's funny because like a month and a half later, baseball went on strike. So that was
wait, time out. I gotta stop 1 second. We gotta get going with the sports for a second. What is going on with this Mets team right now, dude? They're banging the ball, dude.
It's 5-1
again. Who was it? Was that Beatty again?
So So
I'm sorry, dude, I'm just like I've been dying to say that for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's Beatty.
Beatty again, dude.
Off of Waka Waka Waka.
Wow.
Yeah. So getting back to the Mets, what's the Mets record? The Mets are 5-7.
5-7 right now, man, and they were 0-4. They were 0-4.
Right. So 1965 was the last season the Mets were not a game over 500 the whole season. So people were talking about on the radio whether they would do that again. You know what? 58 years later, 59 years. So if they get to 500, they'll be fine. They won't have to worry about that for another year. But opening day at Citi Field. We could talk about the baseball now. We put OJ rest in peace.
Baseball, man.
Yeah, opening day. It was pretty cool. It was Ben's first opening day ever. I've been to a lot of Yankee opening days. Actually went to the Mets opening day in '86, believe it or not. Their World Series year. I went to Mets opening day year. I think it was the last time I went, but it was pretty cool. Nothing like the pomp and circumstance of opening day. And I told Ben, I researched some of these food items, Rich, and I told Ben, I said, the minute we go in the stadium, we have to go get this rainbow cookie egg roll first. And so we go out to center field. It's sold in, you know, they have all those restaurants in center field. So we were online. It was like $9.25. And let me tell you, $9.25 of heaven. It was really good.
It's good.
Oh, it was delicious. So a guy comes up to us. He goes, first of all, let's go Mets. Gives us fist pumps. I think I was wearing a Yankee hat, but then he goes, and secondly, where'd you get that thing? I said, right there. So, nice. You know, and later on, people were saying they were online for like an hour, you know, just to get it and stuff like that. So if you want it, when the gates open up, head right there. There was no batting practice going on really. So, you know, they have the field all painted and stuff.
Me and Aiden went the next day.
Yeah, you guys went the next day. Yeah, it was windy when we went. Oh my God, winds were like 25 miles an hour, stuff blowing all over the place. And there was a guy behind me. He was like an old time Mets fan, and he was like looking into the past. He's like, "Oh, Shea Stadium looks great today," and stuff. You know, he was calling Shea Stadium and stuff. And he's like, "When's Gooden gonna come in and pitch?" And you know, Gooden. Speaking about Gooden, they're retiring his number on Sunday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to speak to you about that. So it's early April. The weather can be pretty shitty. So you're going to bring so many fans in. I don't know what Sunday's weather is going to be like. I didn't look, but you're having an early season game against Kansas City, who won't draw really that many fans. But you make Gooden's day that day, and now you're going to fill up the joint and stuff like
absolutely.
that. Uncle Stevie's a genius.
Uncle
Stevie's a genius, right?
He is a genius. Absolutely, he's absolutely a genius. But you know, like what you were saying though, I got to tell you about the first day. We went to game 2.
Yep.
I've been to a lot of baseball games, like, you know, even before, like, you know, going with Aiden and stuff. But the weather for that game was the best weather I think I've ever been at a baseball game.
Wow.
I mean, Eric, it wasn't hot. I mean, it was not a lot of wind. It was probably the nicest weather I've ever been to a baseball game at, because it was like 70 degrees and sunny, and like we were out in left field, and it was nice. I mean, listen, they lost, but whatever, and that's where, that's where kind of like my rant and my agita started with the team, because like they weren't hitting. Okay. Now you brought up the Rhys Hoskins thing before.
Yep.
Whether I think it was what did you think about that slide? Do you think it was a bad slide?
I think the Mets were losing. I don't know. It was before Marte hit the home run, after the home run, but the Brewers were like, getting hits here and there. I think it was an overreaction, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It didn't look like, and we've seen guys going with their cleats up in the past. It definitely wasn't. It definitely wasn't anything out of the ordinary that I've seen in the past. I think it was just an overreaction from McNeil, in my opinion.
No, I do too. Now, this is why I think it was. Why I think. Now, I wanted.
Was it Chase Utley? Was it Chase Utley? No, I think Chase Utley.
No. Now, I don't think it was that bad, or I don't. Whatever. It is what it is. But I think now I've been ranting and raving for the last couple of days to everybody about. Listen, I went on a rant about Nimmo a couple of nights ago about he wasn't doing nothing. He doesn't look like a good leadoff hitter. He doesn't look like a baseball player. Bang. As soon as I said that, he took off. 6 RBIs the next day, 2 home runs. Bang. He takes off. Never say anything shit about Alonso, because I love Alonso. Alonso's just being Pete Alonso. Lindor needs to pick it up. Jeff McNeil, there's not a spot on this team for Jeff McNeil. I mean, I don't care if the guy's going to start hitting a little bit, but he never gets big hits. And now I think he's a big baby. Now, do I think that they should have hit Rhys Hoskins just to make a point? Yes, I think they should have hit Rhys Hoskins. I do. I really do. Just because of this, all the pomp and circumstance, that happened and everything. I think that they should have hit him. And I think the right guy was up there, because no Met was going to hit him, and Severino was up there. So I really did think that Severino was going to kind of like, brush him or something like that. But it was an overreaction. I think that you're 100% right. And I feel that that's why he wasn't hit. If Rhys Hoskins wasn't hit the next day. If that was Lindor, Rhys Hoskins, I think, is going to get hit within the first couple of pitches. Severino would have brushed him back. If that was Lindor, because I think Jeff McNeil's a baby, and it started 2 years ago with Lindor when they blew that up, and it was just bullshit, the squirrel and the rat fighting. No, I think that there was a big problem between the two of those guys, and I think as a Met fan, and I don't know who agrees, Jeff McNeil, he doesn't do anything for this team right now. I mean, he could hit 3 something if he wants to, but I'm not a big fan of Jeff McNeil. I mean, I think that was the reason why maybe they didn't hit Rhys Hoskins. So maybe like the rest of the locker room was kind of like, yo, what's this guy? This guy's being a fucking baby, man. What the hell's going on?
Didn't the guy throw behind him or something like that with the guy on the Mets?
Yeah. And then
he got traded. He's gone.
Yeah.
He got traded. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's another thing too, Eric. I think that was a huge spot for Mendoza to look like a manager, and he didn't do anything.
Right.
Like, even if he didn't agree or anything, that was his spot to go out there and look at the Met fans and just yell and scream and make an ass out of himself and about that. And the Met fans would have ate that shit up, because we were looking for that the whole game. So I think that if that would have happened, he would have made a lot of friends in Citi Field if he would have just started yelling and screaming at the umpire and really got thrown out of the game. Not just being like, ooh. I think that,
you know what, though, he was on the Yankee bench. Look who he should have learned from Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone's the prototypical guy who sticks up for his team. And he already got thrown out of a game this week. He got thrown out of a game.
Yeah. I mean, right? Yeah, exactly. We're going to talk about, we're going to talk about your team in a minute. We're into the Mets. I got nothing but positive shit to say about your team. There
are some positives about the Mets, though, because
there are. I'm not saying any. I know.
After the Brewers series, Rich, they really could have just laid down and died.
I think Tigers, that sparked it. I think that kind of that little all right, we gotta get better as a team. I think that kind of like the Rhys Hoskins incident kind of sparked that a little bit.
What about the Alonso home run against the Tigers, though? That could have sparked it too.
Another one. And listen, Alonso. If this team trades Pete Alonso, I'm going to be crushed, because he puts asses in those seats. I'm going to go to, me and Aiden are going to go to a random Met game on a Wednesday night if we have tickets. So are a bunch of other people. Okay. But your blah Met fan is not going to that stadium if Pete Alonso was not in a Met uniform right now. unless they start playing, which they're starting to play better. But in the beginning, like you want to see Pete. Pete is the attitude of that team. Like he just needs to maybe. I mean, he's getting a little. You know, I say he's too young, but he's nice, right? That spot where I love his arrogance, dude. And I don't think his arrogance is douchey arrogance. I think his arrogance is like, I'm a big goofball, and this is just what I do. I'm going to bat 260, and I'm going to hit 50 home runs. You know, and they cannot, under any circumstances, trade Pete Alonso. I would be crushed if they did. I don't care how they're doing.
But what if they trade Alonso? They tell him, hey, Pete, listen, we're going to trade you, but in the offseason, we're going to bring you back.
No, because Pete Alonso will take that as a slight. Like, you don't know, guy. Do you know guys like Pete Alonso? I've known guys like Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso is so happy being the center of attention. If you tell Pete Alonso to go away and come back, he's like, well, fuck that. I'm here now, man. I'm the center of attention here. I'm not going back anywhere. You cannot let Pete Alonso go. And I'm not saying that he has loyalty. He's going to be loyal if they offer him money, but I just think that you cannot trade him, man. And I think that that's how he would look at it. It's like, I'm not going back to the Mets. I'm the man here right now. You know what I mean? I think that will kill his vibe, I think, as people say.
Yeah.
What's going on? Ernie's watching right now. Ernie Alfred's watching.
Hey, Ernie, how you doing? What's up, pal? So Yankees did that with Aroldis Chapman, though, Rich. They traded Aroldis Chapman to the Cubs. I was going to say Bears for a second, and they got Gleyber Torres back. So, and then they signed him in the offseason.
Different
personality. Now he's with the Pirates.
Different personality. He's actually pitching well, too.
Yeah, the Pirates are playing well, too. Yeah, very quietly and stuff,
See how long that lasts.
Even though their closer got booed off the field the other day. David Bednar got booed off the field. I guess he blew a couple of saves and stuff like that. But getting back to Pete Rose, Rich, I'll be in Cincinnati, my baseball trip this year. Cincinnati, both Chicago stadiums and Detroit we're going to do. We're going to leave in a couple of weeks. So nice. We have a small window to do it this year because once Ben gets out of school, I don't know what his summers will look like, if he gets a job, whatever. So I figured let's just do it before Memorial Day. So we're going to skedaddle to Cincinnati. So I will be taking pictures of Pete Rose statues, I guess.
That's very cool, dude. Hey, I want a picture with you with your arm around Pete Rose.
Then I'll have to take a shower. But getting back, Citi Field looked great, though, Rich.
It did.
Citi Field looks I don't know. I kind of like it better than the Yankee Stadium in a way.
You could say it. I know a lot of Yankee fans have a hard time saying that, but you can say it. It's
the Yankee fan will say that, though. The true Yankee fan will say that if you compare Citi Field to the old Yankee Stadium wins. But you compare Citi Field to this Yankee Stadium's, it's very vanilla, Rich. There's really nothing to it, really. The aura left basically when they moved across the street.
Yeah, which I think of the aura left a lot of these stadiums. You know what I mean? Like as soon as they tear it down and build a new one, like all the ghosts are gone.
But even Shea Stadium too. Shea Stadium had the ghosts as well.
I liked Shea. I nothing against Shea, and I understand why. I understand why they need a new stadium. It was falling apart, but that was like
nothing worse than a Jets game at Shea with that wind blowing.
I've been to. That's why I'm a Jets fan. I've been to Jet games at Shea Stadium. I remember watching Richard Todd in that stadium.
And the toilets overflowing all the time. Basically, what a mess.
Yeah. Do you think about it now though? Like when you go to a stadium today, it's a complete opposite experience as it was back then. Like you said, overflowing toilets. Now it's like they have high priced steaks. Sometimes people sit in restaurants to watch the game. They have waiter service at their seats. It's like a completely different experience than it was, like, say, 30 years ago. Or even
I had the pizza, too. The Prince Street pizza from the city in the Village Prince. Oh, my God. The best pizza, So really? I was like on an eating spree. Somebody said on Facebook, did you even see a pitch? But, getting there so early, I ate before the game. So it wasn't like I missed anything, really. And, and of course, Mr. Softy. You can't miss a game without Mr. Softy. And the Yankees have Mr. Softy this year. So I'm happy about that.
No, the Yankees get everything.
When I was in San Diego, I went to get some ice cream at and I saw Mr. I said, how the hell did Mr. Softy get to San Diego? All I remember is on the street, the music and stuff, So, in the city. Now, Mr. Softy, I think they're all over. They might even sell stock now for all we know, right?
Yeah. He drove. Mr. Softy drove. That's how he got there, dude. He played the song the whole way.
Well, he might have
to
take
Viagra
if he stays Mr. Softy, if you know what I mean. What was that?
I was saying back to the Mets for a second. Before we get into that, I'm going to get to the Yankees in a second, but I want to say a couple of positive things about the Mets too, which I was kind of shocked about. It's like their pitching they've been pitching well, and I'm very surprised. Manaea had 2 outings. pitched great in both outings.
Yeah, he almost pitched a no-hitter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Severino held us in the game. Like Severino's pitched well. The guy Hauser, he didn't pitch too well. He didn't pitch too well the other night. He took the loss. But for this kind of like ragtag group of like, we don't know what's going to happen with the pitching. We have to get some kind of consistency from it. But Senga's going to come back. They just put him on the 60-day DL, but that doesn't mean anything. He's still going to be back, I think, next week or 2 weeks, I think, from now. So if Senga could be anything what he was last year, is like, and if they could just hit and come like what they're doing now, they need to keep hitting. Lindor's got to start hitting. Like, listen, I'll kill McNeil, till the cows come home, but I'll never say anything bad about Lindor. I love Lindor. But once he's got to get himself on a roll. But I think Bader's been hitting for the Mets.
Right? Lindor, in the beginning there, he only got like one hit in his first like 25 at bats or something like that. He's really picked it up.
Before tonight, he's only batting like 0.98 or something. McNeil just got another hit. The Mets, that's the thing. They're hitting right now, and that's what they have. They have to continue to hit the baseball. Like I said, Bader is hitting. And another guy that I went off on the other night, and I literally went so far as to say that he doesn't even look like a Major League Baseball player. And the minute I said that, he hit a home run. Brett Beatty, I owe him a big apology because I've just been watching him, like even like towards the end of last year, like there were times like he looked uncomfortable at third base. He even looked uncomfortable at bat, like, and even carried that on to this season, like the first 1 or 2 or 3 games. Like he just didn't look like he was comfortable out there. Holy shit, did he change my mind on that day when he hit that home run? He has been on an absolute tear. He's turning double plays. He's playing the field well. He's got his arm strength is up. He's just like, he's playing like a different kid. I mean, and Alvarez is playing well. It's like, with Beatty, it's like he all of a sudden just a light switch, and I just hope it continues. Like, and he got a double just now. I mean, I hope it continues because we have some exciting young players that want to play, man. Like we have Acuna Jr., his younger brother down there that's ready to play. We have 2 pitchers down there that are ready to play. Like if this team looks completely different next year for some reason, with the exception of like Lindor, Alonso, but if there's a lot of young players up there next year, we need to get rid of the McGills and the Drew Smiths and the guys like that. And, even if we got to bring some young talent up, man, bring it up, man. And I know that, I don't know about you, but I know, me and you were kind of like old school baseball guys, but I don't know how you feel about it, but I am enjoying these young guys running around like their heads are on fire, full of piss and vinegar and having fun playing baseball again. I'm not looking at all this shit as being cocky. Like I'm tired of all these guys arguing with all these old timers saying like, you just need to walk in there and just swing the baseball bat. No, have fun. Baseball's supposed to be fun, dude. And I think that these young kids that are coming in now, Jackson Holiday and Churios from Milwaukee, and like the, the 2 tall shortstops over there, you got O'Neill in Pittsburgh and you got Ellie De La Cruz. These kids are young and fun and exactly what baseball needs. And Alonso is a good example of that. I mean, do you agree with me or?
Yeah, well, look what the Orioles did over the year.
Yeah.
Ryan Mountcastle, Grayson Rodriguez, Atlee Rushman,
Hunter Henderson.
This new guy, Colton Cowser they have, and then they have Jackson Holiday brought up. And if you go back, DJ Stewart, he was the one they first drafted, was with the Mets now and stuff. And I was going to talk about DJ Stewart because Mark Vientos is doing pretty good down in Syracuse right now. JD Martinez, damaged goods, right? I don't even know why they signed him in the first. Are we going to see JD Martinez this year, Rich?
Oh my God! Somebody called him Jason Bay the other day. I'm like, oh my God! But it's his body soreness, dude. What? You know what? Ask a football player how they feel the day after they play a football game, or even a basketball player. I bet they have body soreness. Every day, I bet they have body soreness.
I wake up with body soreness. I wake up with body soreness.
What is it? Like, it's like, oh my God, I think I made a mistake. Or they start winning some games. Now all of a sudden his body soreness goes away and maybe he gets a happy ending or something after his massage. Dude, I don't know. I was so excited. You know me. I've been calling for JD Martinez to be on the Mets for like 3 years now. And now it's finally come. And now instead of him, we got, Danny Vogelback, 0.2 and DJ Stewart, as our DH, and like we have a guy that hits home runs but has body soreness. That's just like, it blows my mind, man. I don't know what happens when you put on a Mets uniform. It's baffling to me.
And
but
they paid
like
him a lot of money too. They paid him a lot of money, right? They paid him a lot.
Yes, they did. But that aside, though, it's like I'm glad we're not really like holding on to him coming because the whole team is hitting now, man. It's like, except the Lindor, but it'll come around. But they're hitting, they're having fun. I mean, I don't know, man. That's all I could hope for. I'm not thinking playoffs. If they could be a team that wins, I don't know even know how many games they're going to win. I'm never going to put a number on, but if they could just, make us happy as Met fans to show that we, for lack of a better term, the first couple of games we thought you just gave up already, and now we're seeing you guys putting runs together in the ninth inning. The Mets don't come back in the ninth inning and win baseball games, but these Mets are. Maybe they are sick and tired of hearing the same old Mets. I don't know. But all I know is I went from killing them for the first 3 games and just saying I'm probably not going to watch them to I'm excited to watch them right now. I'm actually doing this podcast while I'm watching the Met game right now. I don't know. I'm just it's good. I think there's going to be good stuff coming for the Mets coming up, and they just got to keep hitting. They just got to keep playing when they're playing. And
I think you got Adam Ottavino in the bullpen, Rich. Ottavino might be coming in soon.
But you know what? How I feel. I
can't. There goes your love-hate relationship with the Mets.
He's going to come. Listen, we're going to be on the air when he comes in here. He's going to come in 3 pitches in. He's going to throw a home run. What is it? 5-1. It's going to be. He'll give up a grand slam.
Oh God.
He'll give up a grand slam. I was yelling about Adam Ottavino the other day. We were at the game, and apparently some guy was in front of me. I guess he knew him from the old neighborhood or something like that. He's like, "Oh, Adam Ottavino's a nice guy."
Oh yeah, he's from Yep.
Who cares? Shut up. He stinks at baseball. The guy's like, "Oh, whatever. He does nice things for the community." He's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm glad." Back in Boston, he's really a nice guy, I'm sure. But what about what he's doing in New York right now? Nothing.
Well, it's funny. On opening day, they were introducing everybody, but they introduced everybody that works for the Mets. So they introduced, getting back to the Ohtani thing, they introduced the interpreter, and I said, "He's betting on the Brewers today." And the whole section started laughing and stuff. And then they had a girl, and she had some type of title. So one guy said, "I looked it up in the dictionary. It's the girl that gets the guys the water bottles and stuff like that." So they had the sous chef, they had the team chef, the dietitian, the massage tissue therapist. The guy goes, "Give me a happy ending," So it's funny, dude. It was just so funny that fans are actually cheering for these people and stuff. It was great.
Yeah,
they have the analytics guys too, the nerds from the Ivy League schools and stuff on the field. They announced those guys too. I think some of them wore uniforms too. They have a uniform, I guess, or in the dugout or something like that. So kind of crazy. Growing up, you had a couple of coaches in the dugout. Now you got a whole. That's why the Yankees will be wearing 100 on their jerseys soon, because they have all these coaches in the dugout. So
yeah, I know. Hey, listen, somebody's got to find out, who hits better on a Tuesday than a Thursday.
Well, they weren't hitting on Friday for opening day, that's for sure.
Well, when I watch the Met games, you think like they show like Steve Gelbs a lot. I don't know. I don't know how many Met games you watch, but you know who Steve Gelbs is, right?
Yeah, he's the
Steve
guy that
Gelbs
goes
is kind of like the
stands, right?
Yeah, he's kind of like. Do you think every time he goes out there and they put the camera on, you think he's gonna like one day I'm gonna be like, oh, what's his name? Jesus Christ.
I know you're talking about the guy on Fox.
Yo, that guy went from being Steve Gelbs, like maybe somebody's going to see me and they're going to hire me at Fox. That guy, I think, has the biggest rise to stardom out of anybody in that world. He went from interviewing the beer guy at Citi Field to calling football games for the NFL. That guy. I mean, I think it's like Steve Gelbs is like, somebody's going to see me. Somebody's going to see me. Put the camera on me. Put the camera on me.
Well, he's the.
I do like Steve Gelbs though. He does a good job.
He's the Meredith Morakovitz of the Mets, basically. Every team has one. Usually, it's a female. The Mets have a male. But you never know. You never know. One day he could be the next Keith Hernandez too. I mean, Keith is up there in age. How old is Keith?
Keith's like 150, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just running on pure like testosterone, Keith.
Those cigarettes aged him. His skin, the leather skin, and all those cigarettes throughout the years in the dugout and stuff like that. But, he's got his own. They got a hamburger stand there. Keith's Hamburgers at Citi Field. So he's marketing too, Keith Hernandez.
Again, I know I always say, but nobody in baseball does a better job than those 3 guys. And the reason being is because you're right. Keith Hernandez is a curmudgeon, and it comes out on the games. When he's angry, he rips his own players, dude. And Ron Darling, the way he breaks down the pitching is, why this guy do that? And it's like, those guys are so good, man, because you have to be, you can't be a homer when you do a job like that. People don't like homers. You know what I mean? Like, people don't like the guys that are always positive about their team.
Kevin Burkhardt. That's the name of the guy. He just came to my name. Kevin Burkhardt.
Yes. Kevin Burkhardt. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Wow. Now we talked about our Mets. Now, again, I want you to talk about the Yankees, but I want to say something that I heard the other day. I'm not going to take credit for it, but it's kind of what I was thinking. This Yankee team this year is going to win 100 baseball games. Now, the reason why I say that is Cole's going to come back. They're going to figure their pitching out. Okay. The Yankee team this year is Aaron Judge proof. When I say Aaron Judge proof, I mean, look what happened to them last year when Aaron Judge got hurt. They have a lineup right now that's, Aaron Judge isn't playing. Whatever. You know what, buddy? Sit down for 60 games. We got Juan Soto. We got Verdugo. And we got all these other guys. You take a break, Juan. Take a break, Aaron Judge. We'll handle. We'll pick up the work. Soto's going to bat like 350. Don't worry about it. Now, that to me, when he said that, I'm like, that's exactly what happened to the Yankees this year. It's like they have players that they have Verdugo calling each other dogs. I'm like, this is a team this is like a gritty team. That's like, they're like, fuck you. They're a FU team. Now, the whole thing with them being Judge proof, I think is a perfect analogy with this Yankee team. Guys. They don't need him. They do. Well, I'm not saying they don't need him. He's one of the best players when he's healthy. But if he goes down and breaks his knee and he's out for the season, this team doesn't need him to win a World Series. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. I turned the Yankees on opening day, of course. I especially worked at home that day so I could watch the game. And going into the season, Rich, I said they can win 71 games. They can win 90 games. I didn't think they would win over 90 games. But, they go out to Houston, and the first 3 out of 4 innings, they hit into double plays. And what do we say? Oh, it's going to be the same old Yankees again. But, there was a spark that day. They came back. They won the game. It was Oswaldo Cabrera. So, Oswaldo Cabrera was like hitting 200 last year, and he's the hero all of a sudden. Anthony Volpe's hitting. He's the hero all of a sudden. Yeah. And then you got, Stanton had a couple of bad games and stuff. And, it's like, let's cut him. All of a sudden, Stanton, he's hitting home runs now. I mean, it's just a juggernaut. And you know what? On the flip side is, what's the matter with Aaron Judge right now? I mean, Aaron Judge is doing nothing. He got off to a slow start. He's got 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. He's slugging under 400, and everyone thinks he's injured right now, basically. But, he just might be running through some bad luck. He is hitting the ball pretty hard. The other night, they had the bases loaded against the Marlins, and ninth inning.
I was going to say that, dude. Now, he's up at bat there. He has to win the baseball game in that.
Right, exactly.
It has to.
Exactly.
He's Aaron Judge. He came up small in that spot.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just they don't need him. Not that they don't need him. It's just like kind of like, well, maybe they're just tired. It's like, oh, what happened? Was your fingernails
different than last year? Because last year, Aaron Judge gets hurt, and who do they bring in? McKinney, all these guys that you never even heard of, basically. Gary Allen. I mean, who were these guys last year and stuff? So now the Yankees went out and got Alex Verdugo, who is a personality. I'll get to the personalities in a second. They got Alex Verdugo. They got Trent Grisham from the Padres. He's a known hitter, hasn't played that much this year. And, of course, Juan Soto, which is, like, self-explanatory. Soto, this is the perfect start for Soto in his Yankee career because it took Teixeira a couple of weeks to get his pinstripes. It took Jason Giambi, big contract. They say earning your pinstripes. Juan Soto earned his pinstripes on opening day, Rich, and he hasn't lost his pinstripes since. He went out to Yankee Stadium. He runs out to the bleachers, and you know what? Do you see the round of applause he got out there from the bleacher creatures and everybody? I mean,
when he signed that baseball and threw that ball back to that kid, that was amazing, dude. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's the middle of a baseball game. He's not paying attention."
Right?
Shut up. That was awesome.
It had nothing to do with that. The pitcher didn't even throw his first pitch yet. Who cares?
That was so awesome, man.
Right. So he goes out there. They're doing the roll call and stuff. Even I never heard a Yankee get roll call when they were plate. He was at bat the other day, and. Oh, I thought that was Alonso who made the errors on the Royals. So he went out there and they were saying Juan Soto when he's at plate. They're going Juan Soto. I mean, the guy's going to make $500 million a year, Rich. This is his, Yeah. The guy's 25 years old. The sky's the limit for this guy. He's going to get a 15-year contract for $500 million or $50 million a year for 15 years. He's going to get, no doubt about it.
Now, what do you think about this contrast about I think Judge is having a rough time in his head too. I think maybe if he's not hurt, I think maybe he's having a rough time in his head because I think that personality wise, I think Juan Soto could absolutely handle his team acquiring Aaron Judge.
Well,
I think Aaron Judge is having a hard time with his team acquiring somebody that could take over his job as being his team.
yeah,
I think Juan Soto's. I mean,
but
go ahead, I'm sorry.
we know Aaron Judge is not the most flashy guy in the world. He goes out, does his business. Juan Soto, flashy guy. Alex Verdugo, flashy guy, and Marcus Stroman, flashy guy. The Yankees haven't had these personalities in the clubhouse for years. I think the last one was Nick Swisher, maybe.
Bunch of dorks.
What was that?
I'm saying they were a bunch of dorks. Like, they were a bunch of kind of like,
Right. And they're having
fun
too.
Dude.
These guys Verdugo hits the home run and he's like, woo, 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 Yeah, so Stroman goes out, he's pitching and he's like getting the fan. He's going like that to the fans. Like, who does that in the baseball? You don't see that. And, we spoke when Stroman got signed. He goes, you're going to be in for it and stuff like that. But, that time might come, but it might not come. You never know. Garrett Cole might come back and this team's going to, they're 10-3 right now without Garrett Cole, Rich. Their team, the starters have an ERA of 2.6. So that's your number one starter is Nestor Cortez. Then you got Rodon, then you got Stroman, and then you got Clark Schmidt and this Luis Gil. So it's amazing. You don't even have Nestor Cortez is not a number one, Rich. He's a number 3. And even Stroman too is a number 3. You got Rodon was a number 1 with the White Sox and Giants, and he's pitched pretty well this year. Maybe he's turned it around, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the turnaround. The one thing is there are a couple of negative things though, Rich. The bullpen. So the bullpen's not striking out a lot of guys. They're pitching to contact, which could be dangerous in the long run. I mean, they're doing pretty well this year so far. Yankees only lost 3 games. 2 games they were shut out. And then the game on Wednesday where the Marlins beat them, Stroman gave up 4 runs and stuff. So it's not like the bullpen's blown the saves to lose a game yet. But if you're a bullpen that's pitching to contact, sooner or later you're going to give up the home runs and stuff like that. So I think that's an issue. And losing Jonathan Loaizaga going on this 60-day, but he's out for the year now. Might need Tommy John surgery. And I want, what, Rich? After this, I want to bring up the Tommy John thing because there was something that really that threw me for a loop there on the Tommy John. But yeah, Anthony Rizzo too, Rich. That's another problem too. I think Anthony Rizzo is too slow for the game now. He's up there in age. I don't think he's the first baseman. So that might be a little rough too. I mean, I don't know. You're gonna have maybe I don't know if any of these Verdugo can play first base or somebody can play first base. But
how about Aaron Judge?
Yeah, Judge could play first base. He's tall enough to do it, right?
Why not? Why don't you give instead of putting him out there on the outfield where he could misstep? I mean, listen, I understand he's an amazing athlete. But
you got Jason
Dominguez.
Yeah, you got Jason Dominguez coming back, so you got to have Dominguez out there somewhere, right? You're not going to bench Soto, you're not going to bench Judge, and you're not going to bench Verdugo. So you're going to have Dominguez play somewhere. Maybe Dominguez plays first base or Judge plays first base. You don't know.
You're right. That's a good point, man. What happens when Dominguez comes back?
Yeah,
you can tell Verdugo he's a 4th outfielder.
Right. And then
what you do? No.
It's a good situation to be in, Rich. It's a lot of talent and stuff. You got Spencer Jones too on the farm in Scranton. He played with the Renegades last year. He's the same size as Judge. He could play first base, but it's a good position to be in. And you know what? There's always injuries, Rich. So
that's what I'm saying. Like what happens? Like how old is Aaron Judge?
Judge is like 31, 32.
All right, 31, 32.
But you're right though, Rich. But you're right though. If Judge gets hurt, it's a whole different landscape as it was last year, but you have the guys that can fill in for Judge right now.
It is nice. Listen, I'm not saying it's not nice to have him, but I think that the Yankees right now, okay, if they're Aaron Judge for some reason, all right, listen, guys, Aaron's going to be out for he's going to be out for the foreseeable future. He might be out for 6 months. Everybody's like, oh my God, it's like, oh wow, it's like, but I think it's going to be one of those moments where I'm like, all right, guys, we'll be all right, we'll be fine. We don't, it's not that we don't need him. It's like let's get Where I think other teams, like when they lose that player, like, oh my God, we're gonna fall. But I think the Yankees are gonna be like, all right, Aaron, we'll pick up the slack, buddy. Don't worry about it.
And that was last year's Yankees. The Yankees.
Juan Soto will come in, say something in Spanish, make everybody laugh, and then let's go back to playing baseball.
His English is pretty good.
Dude, I want Juan Soto on the Mets so bad. I love that guy, dude. I really do. I don't think I think he's a different guy than Aaron Judge. That's what I'm saying. I think there's 2 different personalities. And I think that Juan Soto is more suited for a team where you got a bunch of guys that are personalities. Whereas I think Aaron Judge might be an awkward guy. You know what I mean? Or, he might be that guy like, oh, maybe I don't want to be that, hang with that guy. He barks too much. Or that guy's a weirdo. You know what I mean? Like, or, he's like, honey, don't hang out with those guys. That one guy was barking the other day. We hang out with them. It's like, I don't think Aaron Judge is like a guy's guy like that. You know what I mean? I think that might, but whereas Juan Soto probably came in wearing a fucking, with a mariachi band, like, and they welcomed him with open arms, whereas Judge is like, I'm going home.
Now, the one thing I'm waiting for, though, Rich, and, baseball's ups and downs. Nobody can be consistent the whole season. I'm waiting for the first Juan Soto slump and how the fans take that and stuff like that. So that will definitely, because, when Judge went into his free agent year, there was some booing in the playoffs that year, right? So, I mean, and we actually spoke about that, Rich, because we were doing the podcast back then, and we were thinking like, wow, the fans better not boo him because he might sway and go to the West Coast and stuff.
100. I was just going to say that. Not only will he go to the West Coast, he will get on a subway and go on the 7 train and go to Queens just to give a big FU. Because if you start booing Aaron Judge, he's going to take that personally. You know what I mean? Again, I'm sorry to go back to the whole personality of what I think Aaron Judge is. You boo Juan Soto. Juan Soto is going to be like, I played with the Nationals. I played with the Padres. I batted over 300 like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, oh, boo me, guys. Yeah, I'll see you next year. Yeah, in another uniform. That's all he's going to do. That's just going to be detrimental for the Yankees. So if they start booing him, that would just be silly because he's.
But I don't think it's going to happen. I think the personality. I don't think you can boo that personality, Rich. You could boo Stanton, but I don't think you could boo Juan Soto.
No, you can't boo Juan Soto. As well, you should be able to. You shouldn't be able to. You should be able to take it. And like I said, like, go ahead, boo me instead of, oh my God, they're booing me. It's just like, who cares? It's like, oh, I know why you're booing me. You're gonna love me next week when I hit a 3-run home run to win the game. But I think that's what, and I think he's more Yankee-like than Aaron Judge is. And
there's something else that Juan Soto brought to the team, and it filtered down because Juan Soto, he likes to take pitches. So when Juan Soto was in Washington, coming up as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, he was striking out a lot. And one of the coaches said to him, you got to learn how to take pitches. And he's been doing it ever since. So look at all the walks he's taken. Now, if you look at the Yankees strikeout percentage last year to this year, it's down massively because the guys are taking pitches. The guys are making pitchers work. So many 3-2 counts already. I think there's been 92 3-2 counts in the first 13 games. So the guys are taking pitches. The strikeouts are down. And look what Anthony Volpe is doing. Anthony Volpe was a strikeout machine last year. This year he's making contact. And not only that, guy's batting 372, Rich.
You know what, though? I like him. I like Anthony Volpe. He's a quiet kid. If he continues to play the way he's playing, he is going to be going into a situation where he is going to have to put on his big boy pants. Because once they start talking about Derek Jeter being the shortstop and can he do this like he did, and maybe I should be on the top step like Derek was. I hope he's not a kid. I hope he wants to become Anthony Volpe and not Derek Jeter. You know what I'm saying? Because that's something that a lot of young guys really can't handle either. Because you're talking about like a god in that stadium. Like literally, like you say Derek Jeter, it's like saying Babe Ruth. It's like saying Mickey Mantle. You say Derek Jeter. And I hope that kid can handle that because he is a very good baseball player.
Yeah, and he's having a very good sophomore season. Last year, he won the Gold Glove last year as a shortstop. Yeah. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And this year he's swinging the bat, but he was batting in the 6th and 7th hole. Oh, home run.
Big Pete, baby.
Pete. Oh, wow, look at that.
Sorry to interrupt that, but Big Pete with a 2-run blast. I'm sorry.
I was looking at the Red Sox game over my shoulder. Mike Trout's playing in Boston. Getting back to what I was saying about Volpe, he was batting 6th and 7th, and he was doing pretty good. And all of a sudden, they put him at first. It's like
I was going to ask you about that.
Why is Aaron Boone tinkering the lineup, Rich? And not only that, Oswaldo Cabrera has a great the road trip. They went 6-1 on the road trip, and he hasn't played the last 3 games. It's like, what's going on with that too? They got this guy John Birdie from the Marlins. Maybe they wanted him to play against the Marlins because that was the team he played for. But you had Cabrera who was tearing it up, and all of a sudden he's on the bench. I really don't get Boone's rationale about that. And I don't get the rationale about moving Volpe because if it's not broke, why fix?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And somebody they were talking about this the other day too. Do you think that he is the prototypical leadoff hitter?
It's hard to say. But where he was sitting in the lineup at the beginning of the season, he had Gleyber Torres up first. Gleyber Torres is struggling. Gleyber Torres is going to come around. It's a free agent year for him, so he's going to come around. But I don't want DJ LeMahieu leading on, and I don't even think there's going to be room for DJ LeMahieu when he comes back.
So no, what I'm saying though is I think going over it in my head and thinking about it, I think the Yankees made the good switch. I think Gleyber is better further down the lineup, and I think Anthony Volpe was put into a position. What somebody said on the radio the other day, that this is going to be where you're going to be. So let's get used to it. So we're playing well right now. Get used to your leadoff spot. So I think somebody said to him, "You're going to be the leadoff hitter of this baseball team.
Well,
get used to it."
The good thing
I don't know.
He has Juan Soto batting behind him, basically. So you have Volpe first, Soto second. So I think that's good in a way, basically. So he'll get some pitches.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. He's fast. He steals bases too. I mean, again, just those two things. Like, I think maybe they did bring up Derek Jeter or something. It's like, listen, you're one day going to be the leader of this baseball team. We need you to step into this role now. You're our leadoff hitter. LeMahieu's not going to lead off. Like, who's leading off now for them? Who was? Gleyber was, right?
Gleyber. Yep.
Yeah, it's like Gleyber's up and down. He has an attitude. He goes 0 for 4. It's like, you're a young kid. It's like, let's take that role right now. Let's be the guy. Let's lead off and play shortstop for us. Wear that Yankee uniform proud. I don't know. You got two young guys on that team. Cabrera's another guy too, man. Cabrera admittingly said that they asked him why he was seeing the ball better or hitting so well this year. And he just outright said, he goes, when Juan Soto came to this baseball team, he goes, I just sat there and watched him swing the bat for hours and hours. And he goes, I watched video and I asked him questions. And he goes, just watching him and bringing his aura to the baseball team, he's like, this is why I'm hitting better, because I became, I see what he does and the work he puts in and the way he goes in situations. And Volpe said the same thing. He's like, you have no idea the kind of work that Juan Soto puts into his craft.
Well, it better be. They gave up a lot of pitching to get him, but yeah, no, it's wearing off on the other players. Definitely, the Juan Soto aura and stuff. The way he plays the game, and a lot of the players are taking notes. The Yankees are a fairly young team. They got a lot of these young players and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like DJ LeMahieu. I don't know where he fits in on this team right now. We know where Garrett Cole fits in when he comes back, and he's been throwing lately, and that's pretty good to hear. But Rich, Garrett Cole was now been off.
Yeah, what this what this Yankee team's gonna do to Garrett Cole when he comes back into that locker room? They're gonna shove him in the locker. They're gonna close the door. Just come out in 5 days when you're ready to pitch, guy. And just gonna leave him in the locker. He's gonna be like, guys. Can you let me out of the locker, guys? It's like, no, you're coming out in 5 days when you got to pitch.
So yeah, he was questioning MLB and the union about the arm injuries, and a lot of the arm injuries, a lot of the media is blaming on the pitch clock, and I don't think it's the pitch clock, Rich. These kids, I went to a college game last year. They had this college, one of these college tournaments over at Dutchess Stadium. And there was a pitcher, he threw 135 pitches. So, these kids are throwing a lot in their younger age. They're playing a lot of games. They're playing travel ball. They're playing summer ball. They're pitching in high school. I don't know if there's any pitch regulations in high school, but college, apparently they're letting them go. So I think with all these pitchers are throwing, it takes a lot of toll on them. And then when they make the major leagues, Rich, I want to hear your opinion on this. When they make their major leagues, they're told to throw hard for 5 innings, 100 pitches, and come out of the game. Whereas when we were growing up, pitchers were artists. Pitchers knew how to pitch. They would mix up pitches. They had an arsenal of 5 pitches, 4 pitches at least, not only fastballs. I think that's the problem with the arm injuries. I don't think it's the pitch clock.
No, Eric. It's not the pitch clock, dude. And I hate to say it because you know how I feel about Garrett Cole. I don't like him, but Garrett Cole he's the way a pitcher should pitch in baseball today. Like, he is a guy like that. He is a guy that's not going to come in and throw the ball as hard as he can for 5 innings and then leave, because he's a crafty pitcher. There's not too many pitchers that are like him in baseball right now. I'm trying to think about the top of my head, but you're right. I do, however, think they have to stop blaming that on why all the injuries are happening today, like Spencer Strider and like all these guys. And some of these guys, you hear that it's their second Tommy John surgery, and it wasn't even in the major leagues. You hit the nail on the head. These kids are pitching way too much as young kids, way too much. From the talk from the high school coach to the travel coach, and we need to be on the same page. And I don't want little Johnny throwing more than this. So I don't want, hey, don't worry about it, coach. You know, little Johnny's at a tournament in New Jersey, pitched through 200 pitches in 4 days. And then he goes back to his high school, and his high school pitch coach is like, did you pitch over the weekends? Like, nah, coach, I'm fine. That is the problem with the pitchers today in baseball, because they throw too much as kids. And I don't know if somebody wants to debate me on that. I've seen it. You know, there's a reason why there's pitch limits, and you carry those pitch limits onto a place where there is no pitch limits. Okay. So when that happens, yeah, you could be that coach that throws that kid 160 pitches. Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. He's fine. But no, he's not fine. Like, you know, because he's hurting. So you're going to throw a 15-year-old kid 135, and I've seen it, Eric, I've seen it. You're going to throw a 16-year-old kid 135 pitches in a game just to win a tournament in Newburgh? Or, you know, so that, and the kids don't say anything either, because the kids want to play. You know, so it's got to be up to the kids too. Maybe the parents got to be more proactive. But if you ask little Johnny if he pitched Saturday, and he pitched awesome, but he threw 140 pitches, and he's got to go against, you know, some team in New Jersey that beats them all the time, but he's their only luck. You know, it's like, he's going to pitch. Yeah. You know, and because, you know, it's for the moment. It's as big as the moment, And with the moment when you're young, it's a big moment. Yes. But it's detrimental to some of these kids' health, like when it comes to pitching, because you're having Tommy John surgery at 16 years old. And then I mean, come on. So that is what is wrong with the pitchers in baseball today. It has nothing to do with the pitch clock. I mean,
don't forget, Tommy John surgery. It was in the 70s, 80s. It was invented, Tommy John surgery, with Tommy John, of course. So yeah, I mean, you see too many injuries now. It's because who can go more than 5 innings anymore, Rich? Usually pitchers they're going 4 2/3 innings. They're not even going 5 anymore. I mean, this guy on the Astros, Ronel Blanco, threw the no-hitter, the 9-inning no-hitter the other day. And then he came out and he threw another couple innings of no-hit ball too. It's like, that was refreshing to see that somebody can do that. I mean, he's been around the major leagues a while too. It's just crazy that anybody would say the pitch clock would have a detriment on these injuries to the arm and stuff like that.
Well, what's their logic behind it when they say that it's the pitch clock? Just
because they have to pitch within 20 seconds. But you didn't see pitchers waiting for a minute to throw a pitch, right? Pitchers are pretty consistent. You had guys that would just get the ball back in their glove and throw the ball right away. You know, and then you have guys that walk around the mound. You have that too. So you had a little bit of both, but pitchers are getting hurt no matter what. You know. Yeah,
and I definitely think,
and like you said, Garrett Cole, he likes to mix it up, and he still gets hurt. So
yeah, he still gets hurt. So I mean, it is happening an awful lot in the major leagues, especially to the pitchers, an awful lot. And you know, and I think that, you know what, maybe Cashman was onto something when I say that maybe in a couple of years from now, pitchers aren't going to be that hot of a commodity anymore, because maybe these pitchers are going to be getting a lot of money, but maybe they're not signing the 10-year deals. Maybe they're only signing 3-year deals, because you don't know. So for the Yankees to get rid of some pitchers who, you don't know if they're even going to be good yet, or maybe they will. But, you know, when you look at it, it's kind of like the running back in the NFL. They have their prime for 3 years, and then they either get Tommy John surgery and they miss a year, then they're not back. So they're back, and now they have 7 years. So maybe longevity-wise, maybe GMs are looking at differently now. Maybe like, yeah, we need pitching, but we also need a big bat that's going to do it now. And pitchers are getting hurt all the time. Strider. Guys are, you know, done for the year. And a lot of these pitchers, you know what I mean? Like, so maybe GMs are going somewhere different. It's like, we need a guy that's going to give us shit now. We'll figure out pitching. Kind of like, you know.
Or maybe they go with 6-man rotations now, Rich. They get an extra
starter. That's a possibility too, Eric.
Yeah.
That's a good possibility.
You know, instead of a guy pitching 33 games a year, he pitches, 30 games a year, or 37 games or 27 games a year, because they have that extra starter now. But, and, you know, they experiment with the opener. I mean, the Yankees got rained out tonight, so they have to make plans for tomorrow. So they were going to go the opener, but they called someone up from the minors who started for the Marlins a couple of years ago, and he had an injury. So, you know, it's just a different dynamic now. We never saw baseball teams going to doubleheaders, having to call up pitchers and stuff like that, you know. But I guess that's what it is. But maybe it is. The Dodgers might use the sixth man once Bueller comes back, right? They might have a six. They have when Ohtani could pitch too next year. They might have a 7-man rotation for all we know, right?
Yeah. Otani might be in jail.
Oh God.
That could be in jail.
But yeah, the Yankees, they did impress me. You win 6 out of 7 in Houston and Arizona. That's a pretty impressive way to start a season, Rich. And then you come home and you win 4 out of 6 against the Blue Jays and the Marlins. You're not going to win every game. You're going to lose some. And as long as you win 2 out of 3 of every series, they say at home, you're pretty good to play 500 on the road. So,
listen, like I really prematurely jumped the gun with the Mets because those first 3 games, it was putrid. Like what I was watching, I'm like, what is going on? Then all of a sudden they just kind of like turn it on and like they're doing different. Like they're hitting, they're playing the field. And I'm like, I don't know. It's exciting to watch, man. That's all I really want at the end of the day. It's an exciting baseball game to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. It's a full season. You don't want to give up on a team the first week of April, Rich. You want it to last through the summertime and stuff, right?
You know that's me just going a little bit too crazy.
Well, you want to at least go August, and then your boy Aaron Rodgers comes on the field in exhibition games, and then it's like Jets time and stuff, right?
Yeah. You just tell me that you want to talk about the Jets? Is that what you're saying? You want to talk about the Jets? Yo, let me just tell you something right now. I have never in my life, in my 51 years on this earth, and my 43 years of being a Jet fan, have I been more excited to what I'm about to witness on the football field this year. Now, they just, dude, do we want to talk about football? Do we want to talk about the Jets right now? About how they just got 3 legit offensive linemen, 3 men to play the offensive line, not 3 boys, 3 men. I know one of them gets hurt here and there, but you know what, though? He comes from an offensive line. That was one of the best offensive lines in football. We got 2 maniac ex-Ravens, okay? We got the draft coming up, okay? Hopefully we're going to draft one of those big, juicy offensive linemen from either Notre Dame, Penn State, Oregon, Alabama, LSU, one of those guys, okay? Just signed that lunatic from Philadelphia to go fit in nicely with Quentin Williams on the line now. I honestly think that there's something going on in San Francisco right now that I think is interesting to me. I think that Brandon Ayuk is kind of like, you see what he did today? He's kind of trolling the 49ers. I don't know if Brandon Ayuk is happy being a second fiddle over there to my boy number 19 over there in San Francisco.
Well, you got Mike Williams already, though, right?
Why can't we have Brandon Ayuk too? Why can't we have Garrett Wilson, Brandon Ayuk, and Mike Williams?
Wow.
I'm excited for you know what, Eric? The Jets made a lot of good moves. You can't really say that they even did it. And if Aaron Rodgers does get hurt, okay? If he does get hurt, let's just say, God forbid, he runs out onto the field and he only does 3 plays and he gets his head chopped off. Whatever it is. Tyrod Taylor is a guy that could come in and he's not Zach Wilson. He can manage a football team. He can manage a game. He's got an offensive line. Breece Hall is going to have a career year. I'm not saying MVP. He's going to have a career year this year. He might do 2,000 yards, not rushing, both. He might get 2,000 and 1,000. He might do that this year. Just some kind of offense that they're going to run because Aaron Rodgers is getting old. He's not going to be running around like a lunatic. He's got people to throw the football to, and he's going to want to throw it to them. So I don't know, man. I'm pretty excited about the Jets. We don't have to go into detail about the Jets, but it's got me excited there for a second.
I know. I know how excited you were last year, Rich. You were very excited. I think if we play one of these, I'm so excited about the Jets this year, right? But Zach Wilson's still on the team, right?
Yeah, something's got to be done with him. They got to make him wash footballs or something because they cannot have him throw them. He can wash the footballs. He can't throw them, dude.
But yeah, that's definitely an upgrade, though, getting Tyrod Taylor as your backup. Yes, I agree.
Yes. Upgrade all over the place, man.
Yeah, just don't let Aaron Rodgers run out with the flag next year. He'll be okay, right?
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Leave Aaron Rodgers alone, everybody. Like he's a fucking listen. Aaron Rodgers is a weirdo. It's fine. He's a weirdo. Just when he says stuff, that's who he is, man. Like, you ask him a question, he's going to give you a real answer to a point where he's going to tell you exactly what he's thinking at that moment. So he might be high. You might have just smoked a big fat joint or something. Or he might be tripping or something. When you ask him crazy questions, you're going to get crazy answers. When he goes out there on the football field, he's going to play football. And if anybody thinks they're going to get under his skin by calling him names or saying he's weird or saying he's this, he's an I don't give a shit what I say guy. So you're not going to break his kind of, I don't know, man. He almost went in to be the vice president for RFK there. And, he was talking about Trump the other day, and he has all these like conspiracy theories. And you know what, though? At the end of the day, he's a really good football player, and it's not going to keep him out of the Hall of Fame. And he's just a weirdo. You know what I mean? Stop it, though. I'm not going to have a weirdo as my quarterback. It's better that we have a weirdo as the quarterback because we had a pussy for our quarterback for the last 2 years.
Yeah, and anyway. I saw Tomlinson, the offensive lineman for the Jets, who they cut. I guess he signed with the Seahawks today. So good riddance, I guess, right? So the Jets are going to go with offensive line, you think, Rich, in the draft? They're going to draft another offensive lineman? Or?
You know what? I hope so. They're saying that they're going to draft this kid from Georgia, the tight end. I don't want them to do that, man. They can get a tight end. They're saying this kid from Georgia is he'll be there. He's can't miss guy. I want them to go offensive line. I really do want them to go offensive lineman and Michael Penix Jr. I really do. I don't see why I don't see why Penix wouldn't be there, at 20, but we'll see.
I agree. I mean, how many times have we seen the Jets take tight ends in the past, Rich?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Right?
Johnny Lamb Jones, even all the way back in the day, supposed to be one of the greatest guys.
Yeah. And not only that, Penn State tight ends they would draft all the time.
Penn State and running backs. Penn State and tight end, Penn State running backs.
They love Penn State offensive.
Yeah. Don't do the tight end thing. I mean, if you need a tight end that bad, get an offensive lineman. Put what's that guy's name? Troy Johnson, whatever that big lunatic we got from Dallas offense.
Yeah.
Put a young kid next to him and sandwich him between two offensive linemen that have been in the league for the last, they got 20 years experience between them. Put this guy Alt between them for a couple of years. Just protect the quarterback. Give him that extra second he needs to find Garrett Wilson downfield. Give him that extra second he needs to dump it out to Breece Hall because he's going to get it done. You just can't let him get hit. You can't because he's old, man. He's old. He's not his escape. He's not the escape plans that he used to.
Well, hopefully MURF has a good 2024 with his sports teams because Rich, your teams have been well, not the Celtics though. The Celtics have been giving you some pleasure, right?
Celtics have been giving me pleasure. And I'm just going to say one thing about the Celtics. Now I'm going to be admitting that basketball is my third favorite sport. I love the Celtics. I would take a Jets Super Bowl or a Mets World Series over a Celtics championship. Just that's how everything lies. But as a Celtics fan, if they don't win the championship this year, it's all for nothing. They break up the team completely because this team has to win the championship this year because they lost to Golden State. They're almost there. They got knocked out last year. So now with Porzingis playing the way he is, and they got their role players. Tatum is showing up in the fourth quarter. Jaylen Brown's playing out of his mind. Excuse me. There's no way the Boston Celtics should not win the championship this year. Tell me a team right now that could hang with them.
Yeah, can't hang with them. What, they have 18 losses? They're like in a league by themselves right now. Playoffs are a different animal, though, Rich. The Knicks to come along. Knicks.
You see what happened with the Knicks game last night, though? I don't know what happened in the Knicks game last night because they were getting their asses kicked by the Knicks in halftime. They lost by 10.
Yep.
So were the Celtics I'm not saying kick it back, but I'm saying playing other people in different positions. I don't know what they were doing, but then finally wait a second, we got to start catching up a little bit, and because for the last month watching the Celtics, they were a well-oiled machine, dude. They did nothing wrong on the basketball court. Defense. Porzingis is averaging over 20 points a game. Porzingis, the Knicks hated him. They hated Phil Jackson for drafting him number 1 that year. Now he's on the Celtics and he's averaging 20 points and 8 rebounds a game. I don't know, man. They have to win the championship. It's bad luck if they don't. I don't know if there's a team that matches up well with them, except maybe, I don't know, if you go into a championship with Denver or Dallas, because those two white boys over there in Dallas and Denver are the two best players in the world, man, and nobody could handle them right now. So. Right. You know, I don't want to get. I don't care what seed Dallas goes into as a seed. You do not want to play that team in the playoffs, dude, because it show you see what Luka does when he gets mad. He just like, oh, I can't shoot, bang, 3-point. Oh, I can't. I'm gonna drive the ball on you. Oh, you want me to play defense? I'm gonna steal the ball from you. So he's a guy that could definitely win a championship all by himself. So as far as team wise, though, no, I don't think anybody. The Celtics have to win the championship this year. So it's championship or bust.
Yeah, and we were talking other NBA, Rich. 22 years ago, AI was first invented, not artificial intelligence, but Allen Iverson, 4 NBA scoring titles, and then he got a statue amongst the other greats of the Sixers, amongst Julius Erving, Wilt Chamberlain, Charles Barkley, Maurice Cheeks, Allen Iverson. Well deserved for him, right? After all this time.
100%, dude. I love Allen Iverson. Love him. Love him. Hey, I thought you were going to tell me how small the trophy was, but
yeah, well, the trophy's like it's a miniature.
And you know what? I watched that video too, and I love AI. I mean, I got Jordan on my wall, I got Garnett, and number 3 for me is Allen Iverson. Those are my 3 favorite basketball players of all time. And the thing that struck me about Allen Iverson receiving that award, Allen Iverson as the guy with all the chains, and fighting on the court and playing every single minute as hard can be. He legitimately looked humbled when he saw that trophy. Like he legitimately looked like, holy shit, this is cool. You know what I mean? Like he didn't look like that. He's like, nah, this is nothing. He like legitimately was like, wow, this is really cool. And I think he doesn't get enough credit, man. Maybe he does and he doesn't because he just had that kind of like that up and down life. Like, I mean, what's his name pretty much drafted him out of jail, you know what I mean? From Georgetown, he had a rough upbringing and stuff like that. You know that he played football with Michael Vick, right? You know that him and Michael Vick played football together?
Who, Iverson?
Yeah. They're from the same. I think they're from the same town, or they're from rival towns. And Iverson was a ridiculous football player as well, like ridiculous. Wow. Watching old video of Michael Vick and Allen Iverson in football is literally watching Tecmo Bowl when they played. When they were in
undersized guard, probably one of the best NBA players ever. So you could, but he doesn't get the respect that the greats get. Rich, is it because of the way he dressed, his tattoos, the hair? Is it something that he used to dress? That's why the NBA has a dress code now because of him, basically.
Because of him, yeah.
I mean, is it that? I don't know. Yep.
But like and I remember even guys like Kobe Bryant, guys say that about him. But like once he got on the court, say what you want about him, but when he was on that basketball court, he was an animal. Like he wasn't 6 feet tall. He was 6'8", like 275. And do not try to stop him when he's coming down that lane, because he'll switch it up on you. He'll shoulder you. I mean, the guy just did so much stuff. And like I said, he may have felt. They said that he ran through like $200 million in 10 years or something. But he's getting his recognition now, and I think it's rightfully so, because he's a guy that, if you get a chance, I know I told you about it, but I saw on TikTok or Instagram or something, they just put out a letter that Allen Iverson wrote to Kobe Bryant expressing how he felt when he died, and I guess they had some kind of thing, that Kobe Bryant always respected, Allen Iverson, he just said, he just give him headaches, and he also said too that every time the Sixers played the Lakers, there was no zone defense. It's like Kobe was on AI no matter what. He goes, he's like, I go out there, play, I score. I average 33. You go out there and you average 36. I go out there and I score this in a game. You go out there and you go score 2 more. He goes, I score 46. You got to score 48. It's like, you always pushed me to be the best player that I could be.
Well, remember, he scored 48 in that playoff game, the first game against the Lakers, right? Game 1 of the NBA championship, but then the Lakers came back and won the next 4 games. But yeah,
Kobe scored 48 that next night. That's the story. Kobe scored 48 the next night.
Oh, he scored. Oh, yeah, I didn't realize. I forgot that. Yeah.
He goes, I scored 46. You go out and
that's what you were just saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this. But he said that in Allen Iverson's kind of statement, what he's saying is there's nothing really like that anymore. He's like, we kind of we were adversaries, but we made each other better. It's like, I love hearing stuff like that, man. I really do, because he was an amazing basketball player.
160 pounds, scoring 31 points a game. I mean, unheard of, Rich, nowadays.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And they were asking, and what's funny is they were asking, because I do a lot of I've seen a lot of documentaries on him. There's one coming out soon that's like a real legit one that he's behind and everything. I'd like to see, but he came out today and they were asking him about load management with the basketball players. I don't know if you saw that. And he said load management is the key. He said you had to drag me off that basketball court when there was games. And then they asked him something about it's like, oh, but how do you feel about practice? He's like, come on, man, you all know how I feel about practice. But I think I said the story to you once before, right? About because you brought it up about when he was like practice. You guys asked me about practice. He goes, that story behind that whole interchange with the media person. His, what do you call it? That he wasn't at practice that day before because his best friend was killed in a drive-by shooting, was shot. He was in a hospital all night with his buddy. Now you could say it was like a kind of a thug thing or whatever. He was shot in a drive-by shooting, but that's why he said that. Because they was like, how come you weren't at practice? And he's like, he had just came from the hospital watching his best friend die. And he's like, practice? You're asking me about practice? So that was so misconstrued. And he never felt that he had to say that to anybody. But he's like, fuck these people, man. They think that I'm being lazy. He's like, watch me on the court. It's like, so that's kind of like, I think he carried that a lot too, because he does bring it up a lot. But I think he carried that because you don't know what I'm doing, man. I wasn't at practice because of that, not because I didn't want to practice. So I like Allen Iverson.
Yeah, he in the Hall of Fame, Rich? I don't know if he's in the Hall of Fame or not.
I hope he is. He has to be.
I think so, right? Yeah,
man. I have to think. I don't know much about the Basketball Hall of Fame, but he has to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I went up there once. It's not too far away. It's about 2 hours away from here. I went there, but I don't remember him being in or not. No, Dr. J is.
Springfield, Mass. It's in Springfield, Mass.
Springfield, right? Massachusetts. Yeah, right off of.
I've been there. I was there about 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's in a shopping mall. I remember.
It's kind of weird.
Not
it's
like
kind of a weird area.
Not like going into Cooperstown, right, in the village. Or it's like I think it was next to a Subway or something like that, or a Jersey Mike's or something. But yeah, NBA season's coming to an end. You'll get to watch your team and my team. Same old Nets.
Yeah, but you know what it is, if you're a basketball fan, I know you like basketball, but it's coming back a little bit, man. It's like there's a lot of exciting shit. Like you're gonna watch the basketball playoffs, right? Even though the Nets suck.
Yeah, I'll watch the playoffs definitely. The basketball players are so much different than the regular season games.
Absolutely.
Guys play like 30, 40 minutes. Most of the starters, you don't see guys coming off the bench. The bench guys who play 20 minutes a game during the season, they see 2-3 minutes during the playoffs in a game and stuff. So. It's good. You see the real, you see what comes out from the real players and stuff rather than, coming in and out of the game and stuff like that. By the Mets won, Rich.
Yeah, I know. They're interviewing the man right there. What was
I see Brett Beatty getting interviewed right now. Yeah.
Beatty, you suck. You don't even deserve to be on a baseball field. You're not a professional baseball player. Nemo, you suck.
That'll be tomorrow when they lose, right?
Yeah, I ripped the both of them, and the next day they play like superstars.
Jeez.
This is all I want, Eric. Like I said, you know what it's like to win fucking World Series and seeing your team play well. It's all I want. I want to see my players with smiles on their faces and like they're. I want to be able to go to the stadium and be proud to cheer for them. I don't want to be upset. I don't want to be pissed off. They're going to lose baseball games. It's going to happen. They're not going to win every game, but at least go out there and put a product that your fans are going to be proud of.
Yep.
Not a product that like they're throwing a bunch of ragtag guys together to do something. Put a product that you're proud of out there. That's all. That's all we're asking for. And at the end of the day, like, me and you could do our podcast, and even off the podcast, we could talk about teams and we could talk about sports. We all know that our teams are not going to win their championships every single year, but we just want you to make it entertaining for us. That's it. It's like, and back to the fact that, booing players, that's why these players shouldn't give a shit, because if you get booed tomorrow, you're going to get cheered. And then you're going to get booed in 3 weeks. So just go out there and perform, I guess.
Yeah, but no matter how hard you get booed, Rich, the money's going to hit your direct deposit no matter what, the same amount of money. So
exactly. It's going to be there, and back to that for 1 second. Why is Pete Alonso getting shit for being on stage at a country music concert singing with one of the biggest? I don't know much about country music, but I do know that he is one of the biggest country stars in the entire world. And he's getting shit for fans for losing a baseball game and being drunk on the stage. They're like, well, that's not the time when he should be going out and partying. That's exactly the time he should be out partying, when they lose.
So on the flip side,
what are we talking about
on
here?
the flip side, if the Mets won on Saturday and he went to the concert, would there be that much flack about him winning the game and going? No, not at all, right?
I don't know. Mickey Mantle banged 3 hookers, banged down to 5th of Jack, and woke up and played fantastic. So
Babe Ruth too. That's what Babe Ruth did, right?
Oh yeah, whatever. Babe Ruth. It's opening up wounds for my argument I had with that vintage Facebook page, dude. I wanted to kill those guys, man. Those guys are big. Those guys are the biggest idiots. That vintage baseball site. I don't know if you're on that Facebook.
Yeah,
page.
I am. Yeah,
they are the biggest tools on that entire site, man. I find myself arguing with people on that site all the time because when even though sometimes you think these people are trolling with some of their stuff, but they really mean what they're saying. They're just dumb.
Yeah. There was a thing on there where I got a little aggravated too. The Yankee Stadium used to have monuments on the field. The old Yankee Stadium before the new other Yankee Stadium, the original one, they used to have monuments in center field. And somebody posted a picture of it. Said, "So what? Well, that's what it was." Oh, but it's so dangerous for the players and stuff. So, did any player ever run into him or not? Nothing. You know what happened? Sometimes the baseball would go behind it, and it was so far away, Rich. Anyhow, it would be an inside the park home run. But you know what? It's like, who cares? And I said,
exactly.
Remember the hill they had in Houston? Remember the hill in center field? And then in Pittsburgh, in Forbes Field, they had the batting cage after batting practice. They bring it out to center field. So that's the way baseball stadiums were. The flagpole in Tiger Stadium, every baseball stadium, the Polo Grounds, every baseball stadium had its own little flavor back then, Rich. And if the monuments were on the field, so what? You got to deal with it, right? Oh, but they couldn't do that nowadays. They get hurt. Would be a bunch of pussies.
It is. It's absolutely ridiculous. It really is.
Reading this stuff on the internet sometimes is, it just baseball fans that just became baseball fans. It seems that have been watching the game for years. I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and it's just the temperature of the country right now. Everybody just wants to complain about something.
Oh my God, seriously.
It's the temperature of the country right now.
Exactly,
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Oh well, what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah. What else? We got anything else you want to go over?
Yeah, the Renegades start this week. So they started their season Friday night last week. I watched the game actually. They were playing down south, but they come home on the 16th is their first game opening day. So
16th, okay, because we have a family coming up, and my AJ and his daughter. AJ's I just call him my brother. Let's just call him my brother because he's pretty much my brother. His daughter Hannah, dude, is the biggest Met fan ever, and she's almost 9.
Mm-hmm.
They go all over the place, dude. Watching he was in Korea. They were in Japan. They were in Japan watching the games in Japan. He takes to the games in Korea.
Wow.
Whenever they're here, like they live in Thailand.
Oh, okay.
When they're here, like he's got 6 Met games lined up, and he's already been to 3.
Wow.
And she is the best little fan. Like she knows all the players. She has her favorites. She knows the game. Like she knows why they do this, she's the cutest little girl, and she loves the Mets. So they want to come up and they want to go to a Hudson Valley Renegades game.
Yeah, so that's starting up now. And we might be doing some football too, Rich, in the fall. So that's something to be looking forward to. Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, that we call the football games. That'd be kind of cool. I think somebody should offer us a job doing play-by-play. I honestly think that I'm not even just. I think we could do a good job, dude.
Look what we did on the basketball, Rich. We had people watching from all over the place, right?
Yeah.
India, Puerto Rico, all over the United States, people watching. So, yeah, I mean, why not, right? That would be pretty cool, I would think,
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? We really should. We got stuff. Yeah, we still got to figure something out. Maybe somebody will hire us to.
Maybe John Jay will hire us, right? Do they do, or the kids do the games? I don't know.
Oh, I don't even know. I keep saying that we got to go take that. What's his name? That guy Zolzer. His job. We go take Zolzer's job.
The only thing I'd have trouble with is lacrosse. I never saw a lacrosse game. I don't even know how to announce one of those games.
Yeah, but you know what though, Eric? We have what do you call? We have a saying in my business: you fake it till you make it.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
So we can fake it, dude. Just give us the names, and we can make it funny. You know what I mean, we can do it. Absolutely, no problem. No problem.
Like McGillicuddy, your boy McGillicuddy, right?
Awesome, dude. I had a really good time. That was pretty cool.
It was fun. It was fun. Good times. Yep. So,
All right, dude. So what do you
Okay.
call it? We got to thank you for gracing us with your presence this evening.
yeah, I have emerged from the bunker. You know, I'm going to go back in the bunker now, and
right.
maybe next week I'll be back. We'll see.
All right. So like I said, I want to tell you also, like, you know, if you want to listen on the way in, Monday morning, I'm going to be doing something on YouTube Live. Monday morning. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet, but it's going to start off as like the Mets recap from the night before. So it's going to probably go on live from about like 5:45, 5:30 a.m. And I'm just going to get on there and I'm just going to talk for my hour ride to work in the morning and see if it catches on. We got to stop spreading the word. So we're getting some fans.
I just want to say one more thing. Tuesday would have been my dad's 83rd birthday. He passed away 2 years ago from ALS. And for the past 2 years on his birthday, I donate $100 to the ALS Foundation.
Awesome.
So anyone out there, ALS, it's one disease that gets overlooked sometimes. Nobody really talks about it. And there's not that much research. But yeah, I just got a follow up from the Veterans Administration. They sent me an email asking me how my mom and I are doing. And, God bless to the veterans out there. The VA really helps the veterans. And I think the United States is the only country where the veterans get assistance from something like the VA. So the VA is really good, and God bless America. So, and happy birthday, heavenly birthday, Dad in heaven. So
absolutely. Happy birthday.
Yep.
All right, dude. Well, again, a great show. And maybe we'll see a little bit more of you when tax season comes to an end. So maybe we'll see a little more. And like I said, pop on me in the morning if you want. I'll figure out a way. We'll make it a phone. We'll patch you in on the phone.
You're going to do these 5 o'clock in the morning Mets recap shows. What happens when they play on the West Coast, Rich?
Oh no, Aiden's taking notes for me. I already got Aiden on it. Aiden said,
you got somebody taking notes on the games.
Aiden's got plans for us, man. We're gonna be the next Pat McAfee show. He said Pat McAfee is gonna do everything else. We're gonna get producers. You're gonna be like the guy. I forgot his name, but I'm gonna be Pat McAfee, and you're gonna be like that guy's name.
Pat McAfee had one of the best onside kicks in NFL history. I don't know if you've ever seen it, where he kicked the ball and recovered his own onside kick. You could look at the video and stuff. And there's no more onside kicks in football, so it's you have to announce you're going to do an onside kick or something now. I don't know. The rules changed and stuff like that. Yeah.
All right,
new
dude.
Kickoff rules. Yeah. So we'll talk about that as the football season comes. But anyhow, Rich, thank you so much. Great show, and
thank you.
Thanks everyone for watching. And I'm going back to my bunker now.
All right, dude. I'll talk to you. All right. We'll get another show in soon. And this is the MURF and EDUBBS show signing off. And we are Keep Talking 365 at YouTube. Thanks a lot, guys.
Take care, Rich. Have a good one, buddy.
All right. Later, dude.
Take care.